about any of it.
The president said that you should resign and the vice president said you should be held accountable for your views. Can you respond to that?
No, thank you.
Ilhan Omar, a name synonymous with breaking barriers and igniting debates, is now at the heart of a political storm that could redefine the boundaries of American democracy. Recent developments have seen calls for her deportation, not from fringe elements, but from sitting members of Congress. This unprecedented move raises critical questions. Can a naturalized U.S. citizen and elected representative be deported? What are the implications for the fabric of American society? Stay with us as we unravel this complex and controversial issue. The controversy erupted when Representative Brandon Gill, a freshman Republican congressman from Texas, initiated a campaign advocating for the deportation of Representative Ilhan Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota. Gill's campaign included a fundraising email titled Petition, Deport Ilhan Omar, asserting that the United States would be better off if she were sent back to Somalia.
This Wednesday tweet where she said to Trump, "You have trafficked in hate your whole life against Jews, Muslims, indigenous, immigrants, black people, and more. I learned from people impacted by my words. When will you?" Omar took strong exception.
This morning you said the president trafficked.
What is wrong with you?
Question about your tweet. You had a tweet saying the president trafficked in hate.
Yes, I tweeted. There's a response. You can run that and have a nice day.
Why can't you explain more what you meant to say?
The other issue is on female genital mutilation and cutting. The Detroit case that actually, where the federal government lost the case because the law.
Her country of birth. He accused Omar of facilitating a full-scale invasion by advising Somali immigrants on their legal rights, labeling her actions as treasonous. In response, Representative Omar, who arrived in the U.S. as a refugee in 1995 and became a citizen in 2000, condemned Gill's remarks as racist and fascist. She emphasized that threatening to deport a legal U.S. citizen and fellow member of Congress over policy disagreements is a dangerous precedent. Omar highlighted her journey from refugee to congresswoman, underscoring the values of resilience and democracy. The notion of deporting
House Republicans are now calling for action against Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Omar's fellow so-called squad members.
To censor them for the kind of stoking of this anti-Semitism that we're seeing on the rise.
Republican Congresswoman Claudia Tenney is one of 3 Republicans moving to censure or officially condemn Congresswoman Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley. Michael Waltz, a veteran, also sponsored the resolution.
I've seen girls' schools get machine gunned with the girls in them and women with acid thrown on their faces. Those are atrocities. And to say that the United States or Israel has done anything even approaching that is offensive.
Calls to condemn Omar began last week when she asked Secretary of State Anthony Blinken about international investigations of war crimes that named the U.S., Israel, Hamas, and the Taliban.
Where do we think the victims of these supposed crimes can go for justice?
Omar then tweeted that the U.S. and Israel, along with Hamas and the Taliban, all committed atrocities. Lumping them together drew strong rebukes from both parties. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez defended Omar.
Their comments were absolutely mischaracterized. She was very clearly speaking about the ICC investigations.
Some Republicans compare Omar to Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. Greene's posts elevating violence towards some Democratic leaders got her removed from her committees. It's a comparison Democrats dismiss.
They're straining and struggling to find an equivalency that just doesn't exist.
So this resolution itself, important to remember, may very well likely not even come up for a vote. And even if it did, it's just a public condemnation. It doesn't have any teeth to it. But we are hearing that the top Republican in the House, Kevin McCarthy, may introduce another resolution that, if passed, would actually strip Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of her committee assignments. Of course, he would need some Democrat support on that. So Democrats control the House. They have the majority. That may not be likely, but it would be a moment where Kevin McCarthy could at least get Democrats on the record as having voted the way that they did on that resolution. Rob, Marnie.
Joe, you mentioned those comparisons.
A naturalized citizen, especially one serving as an elected representative, is unprecedented and legally unfounded. U.S. law protects citizens from deportation, and such actions against a sitting member of Congress would challenge the core principles of the Constitution. Legal experts argue that these threats are not only baseless, but also serve to intimidate and marginalize immigrant communities. This incident reflects a growing polarization within American politics, where policy disagreements escalate into personal attacks. Such actions could deter civic participation among immigrants and minorities, undermining the democratic process. Moreover, using deportation as a political tool sets a concerning precedent that could be exploited against any dissenting voice. The calls for Ilhan Omar's deportation are more than just political posturing. They strike at the heart of what it means to be an American. This situation challenges us to reflect on our commitment to democratic principles, civil discourse, and the protection of individual rights. As this story unfolds, it serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of the freedoms we often take for granted. What are your thoughts on this unprecedented situation? Do you believe political disagreements should lead to such extreme measures? Share your opinions in the comments below. This unprecedented move raises critical questions. Can a naturalized U.S. citizen and elected representative be deported? What are the implications for the fabric of American society? Stay with us as we unravel this complex and controversial issue. The controversy erupted
with Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. I understand she just held a press conference just a short time ago, apologizing for some comments that she recently made. Elaborate on that, please.
Yeah, it was sort of an impromptu thing. We found out late in the day Marjorie Taylor Greene just went outside of the Capitol here behind us, and she apologized for comparisons that she made to the Holocaust and to mask mandates, and comparing Democrats to the Nazi Party. She actually said that she went to the Holocaust Museum here in Washington, that she had learned some lessons, and that she wanted to come out and just admit that she was wrong for making those comparisons. And again, that comes today on a day when we're hearing a lot from Republicans about anti-Semitism and all the rest, and trying to also put that toward Ilhan Omar as well. Interesting, the timing on that, and again, something we didn't really expect to hear this morning, but an impromptu thing from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene just this afternoon.
All right, Joe Khalil in D.C. tonight. Joe, thank you.
On this committee for one term, my voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
Today's resolution, as it relates to Representative Omar, details 6 statements she made as a sitting member of Congress that under the totality of the circumstances disqualify her from serving on the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes, and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened.
The representative can say whatever the heck she wants, but we don't have to accept it or embrace it. Individuals who hold such hateful views should rightly be barred from that type of committee.
This institution is better because of her leadership, and the Foreign Affairs Committee benefits from her perspective. So let's talk about what's really happening. Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable.
We're not removing her from other committees. We just do not believe when it comes to foreign affairs.
Levels for which she was not qualified in those years. Third, we know that Representative Omar took improper kickbacks from 3 Minnesota colleges in 2017 when she oversaw their state budgets in 2017. Under campaign pressure, she returned those kickbacks in 2018. It is worth checking to see if she reported the kickbacks as income in 2017 or deducted the paybacks as expenses in 2018. 5 grounds for an investigation include corruption in public office and tax evasions on grounds of illegal filing status, improper deductions, concealed income from kickbacks, and improper claims for expenses. We are also aware of Representative Omar's pattern of improper conduct. She has been fined by the Campaign Finance Board for diverting campaign funds for an unpermitted political trip to Orlando. She has been directed to pay back her expenses for uncovered political trips to Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Florida, and Washington, D.C. She has been punished for conversion of campaign funds to pay for personal legal and accounting services. She has flouted laws regarding the filing of her personal financial data in a way that distorted the political campaign process. On June 25th, I asked my Congresswoman Angie Craig to launch an investigation into these improprieties. That went nowhere. She said, do it yourself. So on July 23rd, I asked the U.S. House Ethics Committee to investigate Representative Omar. That request is currently being reviewed by the Office of Congressional Ethics. On that same day, I launched OmarTruth.com in an effort to rally Minnesotans and Americans to help bring political pressure to bring about a congressional investigation. After 2 weeks, we have over 44,000 citizens expressing their strong desire to bring about a full investigation, and the list is growing. I will be adding today's request to the facts available on OmarTruth.com. Today, I and 9 other representatives are asking the nonpartisan federal and state tax enforcers to open investigations. We are simply asking them to do their jobs. Questions, anyone?
Do state lawmakers have sway to influence the IRS or the Department of Revenue? Have you successfully asked in the past?
I think certainly there's precedent, and I think it's incumbent upon us, Mary, lawmakers, the media, and others, when they see very clear, blatant violations of our laws, to find every way we can to appeal to the people who can investigate and prosecute those laws. And that's what we're doing here today.
How would a state lawmaker investigate our citizens have any special sway or ability to request?
You know, I don't think so. You know, I guess the fact that we each represent 40,000 people might be helpful, and it might be something that that those individuals take under consideration. But this gives us an ability, I think, to, in an organized, deliberative fashion, say, we have asked the Minnesota Department of Revenue to do their job. We have asked the IRS to do their job. Before we got here today, we don't know if they have been fully informed and appraised of these facts. After today, we can be sure that they've been fully informed and appraised of these facts.
So President Trump has an obvious place in this as a federal executive branch. Would you like him to ask the IRS to do this? You could have more sway.
Well, he would have a lot more sway. Yeah. You know, I don't know that it's really our job to make that request to the president. I think he is aware of what is going on. I expect he is. You know, this effort today may make him more aware of some of those details, and it will be his decision as he looks at the facts and the circumstances in Washington to make that call.
Is that part of your goal today, to get more of his attention?
I think it's our goal to get his attention and every American's attention about what is going on here. It seems to me that that if this was a conservative Republican, that we would already have action going forward. And the fact that no one is above the law needs to be remembered here, and our agencies need to do their work.
If it was a conservative Republican, there's a lot of questions about President Trump's home taxes.
people have asked President Trump to bring his taxes forward for political reasons. I don't know that there's been anything expressed to show that there's probable cause.
I was 20 years old and et cetera, et cetera. I'd like to know, will you be able to make a statement against FGM? Because that's an issue in Detroit. It would be really powerful if the two Muslim congresswomen, yourself and Rashida, would make a statement on this issue.
Your second question is an appalling question because I always feel like there are bills that we vote on, bills we sponsor, many statements we put out, and then we're in a panel like this and the question is posed, could you and Rashida do this? And it's like, how often should I make a schedule? Like, does this need to be on repeat every 5 minutes? Should I be like, so today I forgot to condemn Al-Qaeda. So here's the Al-Qaeda one. Today I forgot to condemn FGM. So here it goes. Today I forgot to condemn Hamas. So here it goes. Today I forgot, you know what I mean? It is a very frustrating question. It comes up. You can look at my record. I voted 4 bills doing exactly what you're asking me to do. I have put out statements upon statements. There's a bill in Congress. There's a resolution that I am the co-author of that I voted out of the Foreign Affairs Committee. And so I am, I think, quite disgusted, really, to be honest, that as Muslim legislators, we are constantly being asked to waste our time speaking to issues that other people are not asked to speak to, because the assumption exists is that we somehow support and are for, right? No, there is an assumption. So I want to make sure that the next time someone is in an audience and is looking at me and Rashida and Abdul and Sam, that they ask us the proper questions that they will probably ask any member of Congress or any legislator or any politician, and would not come with an accusation that we might support something that is so abhorrent, so offensive, so evil, so vile. What we look for, and what this whole conversation is about, is that not only do we not have internalized fears about what we might believe and how that gets implemented, but that we also don't have, right, assumptions about what our value basis might be because of where we might come from and who we pray to. And so I would like, not just for you, but for everyone, to know that if you want us to speak as politicians, American politicians, then you treat us as such.
The young lady yields back. Talk about what Representative Omar has said, talking about that, because I think it's important to put this in context. In February of 2019, Representative Omar tweeted, and I quote, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby," in reference to American support for Israel. She said that AIPAC was buying.
When Representative Brandon Gill, a freshman Republican congressman from Texas, initiated a campaign advocating for the deportation of Representative Ilhan Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota. Gill's campaign included a fundraising email titled Petition, Deport Ilhan Omar, asserting that the United States would be better off if she were sent back to Somalia, her country of birth. He accused Omar of facilitating a full-scale invasion by advising Somali immigrants on their legal rights, labeling her actions as treasonous. In response, Representative Omar, who arrived in the U.S. as a refugee in 1995 and became a citizen in 2000,